Well, for the sake of everybody's time, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Good morning, and thank you for joining us today for our URA member coffee talk. It's hard to believe that it's the last Thursday of September. My name is Dixie Russell, and I'm the Executive Director of the Uniform Retailers Association, and I'm joined by Jennifer Clegg, Assistant Director. We know that times are challenging for everyone, and that's why we created this series, to bring news and education to you. We truly appreciate your continued support. Before we get started, just a couple of housekeeping notes. Everyone is currently muted. Please post questions in the chat feature located at the bottom of the page. We will cover all questions at the end of the presentation. These monthly webinars are recorded and can be viewed by clicking on webinars in the member benefits box located in your profile on the URA website. If you have any trouble, please don't hesitate to give us a call and we'll walk you through that. Today's presentations are with, today's presenters are with White Swan Brands. We have Greg Snoddy, Executive Vice President of Sales, Professional Healthcare Apparel, and Deanna Leonard, Vice President and General Manager of Retail Apparel. They're going to talk about the importance of a uniform program, pandemic planning, and safety. Greg, it's all yours.
Well, thank you, Dixie, and good morning to our retailer partners. We want to thank you for taking time on this Thursday to attend this coffee talk today. Indeed, we are living in unprecedented times, and certainly no one expected our world to be turned upside down like it was early in 2020. But our resiliency afforded us the ability to react, to survive, and to sustain. Unlike any other time in most of our lifetime, caregivers, truly the heroes of today, are being put in compromising work conditions, yet they can continue to do what they do best, and that's save lives. As retailers and manufacturers of professional healthcare apparel, it is our responsibility to arm these heroes with the best tools possible to make their jobs just a bit easier where we can. From stethoscopes to footwear to lab coats and scrubs, these are all tools of the trade, and we're responsible for these nurses and doctors of today, but also to all patients and family members to provide safe and comfortable products that make their healing process easier. Today, Deanna and I will be talking about the importance of uniform programs with respect to pandemic planning and safety. So let's get started. Our plan or our agenda today is to chat a bit about White Swan Brands, who we are and what we do. Most of you guys know us. And then next, we'll discuss what is happening in our industry and how this affects pandemic planning and safety. So as many of you know, White Swan Brands has been around for 106 years. We manufacture and market professional healthcare apparel, and we aim to create safe and comfortable environments for every patient, resident, staff, and family member. Our portfolio of products are built truly around the concept of enhancing caregiver professionalism through fit, fashion, and functionality. We have close to 600 employees, and our sale and distribution coverage ranges throughout North America. You can see the locations there on the screen, and we have an extensive global supply chain covering well over 20 countries. Our mission is simple. We believe that every patient, resident, caregiver, and family member should feel safe and comfortable in today's healthcare environment. The way we enhance that experience is by developing innovative products that are reliably delivered and cost-effective for our customers and your customers. Our mission truly revolves around better care, and it starts with safety and comfort. That's indeed, safety is one of our focal points of the day. So our mission led us to the creation of a high-level advisory board. We use this team of advisors to help us understand issues that they deal with on a daily basis. You know, understanding our consumers ultimately leads us to develop great products. And we utilize these professionals to bounce ideas off of. New product ideas, what we're planning to launch. Is it, you know, are they sustainable ideas? Will they fit in the marketplace? And what, you know, really rely on them to let us know what's important to them, what makes their jobs easier. And they're really reliable and resourceful. They're an intelligent group of folks with a ton of experience. So we really want to dial in on that today and share with you what our knowledgeable advisory board is telling us, and how it, you know, reflects upon pandemic planning and safety. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to my colleague, Deanna Leonard, and she's going to walk you through our advisory board update.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks so much, Greg, for the introduction. I'm going to talk a little bit about the advisory board today, how they're reformed, what they do, and a little bit of highlights around our latest meeting with them. So just to give you an idea of who these folks are and the process to get them, we've recruited 6 key professionals that are at the high level in the healthcare space to fill the role of advisor. The board was actually formed in November of last year. After 3 months of heavy recruitment, interviews, and agreements, tried to get a very diverse board together to make some great recommendations. We had planned on launching our first call in February of 2020, which did happen, just kind of an introductory call. Then we planned on doing an in-person meeting in late March, and we all know what happened in late March. That obviously got canceled due to the pandemic outbreak. However, since things in their schedules have opened up a bit, we've revised the advisory board and we're back together now. We meet once a quarter on the phone virtually and hope to have a face-to-face meeting when the times allow. Our last meeting virtually was 2 weeks ago. And we are going to go over some of those things that we talked about. This particular meeting was focused on safety, uniform programs in the pandemic, and we had them wear test some things as well. I'm going to go over some of those results and some of the key things that came out of that conversation, the feedback and the insights. So first, let's talk about who they are and where they work. So the advisory board, these are the facilities that are represented by the advisory board: HCA Healthcare, Catholic Health Initiatives, now Common Spirit, Northside Hospital outside of Atlanta, Massachusetts General Hospital, Ascension, and Sanciel, which is a group of nurse innovators that really helped drive gaining PPE during the pandemic. As far as titles, to give you an idea of the level of folks and the experience that the folks have on the board, we've got a director of nursing, a director of innovations and care, a chief strategy officer, a president, an AVP of patient experience, and a vice president of quality improvement. So a nice round mix of folks, all pretty advanced in their career and their experience. So first, I just did one quick slide on some of the pandemic insights that they gave us and that they talked about during this call. Obviously, it's a new way to work for them and their teams. They have COVID-focused floors now, wards or departments. To this day, several of them talked about how employees would rather discard their uniform than take it home and wash it. In fact, they used the term they'd rather burn it than wash it. Several say that. They also talked about utilizing laundries as well, rather than taking it home and doing a home laundry. So there's still a big fear there and a big need not to be able to take it home. Their focus as a leadership team is making sure that their employees and patients are safe and comfortable, which ties right into our mission. And that includes that they have the tools they need to do their jobs. From the uniform program, as it ties into COVID, they did give us some insights. Their needs have changed, but these programs still play an important role to them. A lot of them talked about on those particular COVID floors or COVID wards, having one particular color uniform designated to that floor, so it's easily identified. Thanks to the required PPE, these leaders are definitely looking for uniforms that breathe, that stay in place and that keep them comfortable. They're not worried about style, they're worried about comfort. And that was played back to us continuously. We gave them kind of an open-ended question in a survey that we sent out. And that question was, can you tell me a one-word phrase that would describe a uniform program? And overwhelmingly, unaided, the word used was professionalism. It's imperative that their teams display professionalism in all they do during these unprecedented times. They literally quoted, from their attitude to their outward appearance, everything must be professional, especially now. They also cited a new modern approach to uniforms, thanks to PPE driving some of this. They talked a lot about a long sleeve stretcher compression tee paired with scrub pants. Makes it much easier for their employees to move and to feel safe and comfortable. A couple of them gave us a quote that they had their employees go out on Google and find all the basic performance tees they could and bought them all, which was interesting. We ran this by a couple of national accounts we work with, and they did echo the fact that their long sleeve tees have definitely taken off, but not necessarily at the sacrifice of short sleeve scrub tops. So that was kind of interesting as well. Not everyone on the board agreed that this trend would stick around forever, but they did believe it had some staying power, at least over the next 12 to 18 months. They're also, top of mind for them is reorganizations, layoffs, budget cuts, pay cuts, because of what COVID came in and did to their organizations. They expressed a big concern for price points and ensuring that options were available that their teams could afford that were reasonably priced. They talked a lot about unisex, and I'm sure many of you have seen your unisex uniforms take off. They're budget friendly. More pockets, the better. That's not a surprise to any of you. That's been going on for a long time, but it seemed to be even more important now. And then they talked a lot about the desire for the tops to be easy to pull on and off without contaminating their face. That's why they liked a lot of the stretch tees, because they could pull it out around their face without touching their face. That was a big deal for them. It was also a big deal for them to have close-fitting tees so they didn't rub up against the patient or the bed with any of their tops. I'm going to talk to us a little bit about safety. It's always a baseline in all they do, especially now. They do believe PPE will be a continued requirement indefinitely. Some of them cited 18 months, some of them cited 2 years, some of them cited 5 years. No one really knows, but it's going to be an ongoing need. They do think their uniform should reflect safety and keep them and their patients safe. There definitely is, and I know all of you know this because I know you're experiencing it, a driving need for a virtual fit solution. We also discussed a little bit about antimicrobial finishes on uniform programs and the demand and the desire for that. They definitely, as a team, as a leadership team, wanted a better understanding of what anti-mic means. There are so many different uniforms out there that have anti-mic, and everyone has a little bit of a different explanation. So they're not sure exactly what they're looking at when they look at anti-mic. So making it simple for them to understand is a huge plus. One of them actually cited their concern that any kind of topical anti-mic would not cause employee rashes. And they cited a recent airline uniform change that caused this and made the news, and that's not something they want to put their employees through. So they wanted science behind everything. They're definitely willing to pay more for this, but they, again, wanted the benefit clearly explained and backed up in the science. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Greg. That went really fast.
Yeah, that did go quickly, but we certainly want to make sure that we have time to address any questions. To me, interacting with the advisory board and the professionals on that team, the theme, that resonates is professionalism, functionality, and safety. And those are the topics of the day. And I know that is our aim from a design standpoint. I know that the other manufacturers aim in that same direction. So again, building on what we talked about earlier, it truly is our responsibility to make sure that we are giving these folks the tools that they need to be successful. They truly are. I think we can't focus on it enough, and it is never overused, that they truly are the heroes, particularly during the pandemic times. And, we stand with you and your customers, during these challenging times. And we just really thank you for your support and understanding as we navigate through it. I mean, if had you guys been on the call with us during the pregame, it's a new world. Virtual meetings are a new world. And there's so much that we've had to learn new this year, from a healthcare standpoint, from apparel standpoint, from right down to how we meet together. We've got URA coming up that's going to be virtual. So we look forward to that. But what we'll do now, I guess, Dixie, is turn it back over to you to address any questions that may have come up during the short talk. And again, thank you to everyone.
Sure, thank you. Again, as a reminder, if you've got questions, you can put those in the chat feature located at the bottom of your screen. We do have a question. Is the advisory board specific to White Swan or an association like URA?
So I'll let Deanna take that one.
Oh, sorry. The advisory board is actually specific to White Swan, and we'll be publishing results every quarter with our URA members.
Fantastic. Quick question. HCA partners with Centos to provide uniforms. They do not help retailers. They use them as fitting rooms only. Oops, I apologize. That's not really a question.
That's good to know. I'll make a note of that.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you for that information, most definitely.
Where will the results be posted, emailed or published?
Dixie, that's really up to you. How would you like us to share that information?
That's a good question. We would be happy to distribute those to our members.
Okay, no problem. We'll make sure that you have them once a quarter.
Fantastic. And what we'll do is include them in our, we do a monthly retailer to retailer e-newsletter, and we will add that information in there as we receive it. So thank you. That's a great benefit. Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions someone wants to post in the chat feature? I know these, again, are some challenging times, and we certainly appreciate everybody participating, and we certainly appreciate our partnership with White Swan. They are going to be holding your typical, not your typical, welcome party that will be virtual this year. So we're excited about that with the URA virtual trade show later in October. So we hope that all of you on this call are able to make the presentations and networking events on there as well. I don't see any other questions. Greg, Deanna, is there anything else you want to open up? Whoops, I do have one other question. I think it's a question. Any brick and mortar line only, similar to Jockey, that might be available to retailers?
That's an interesting question. We do have a couple of made-to-order things that we're working on for next year. One of which could potentially be brick and mortar only. Great question.
Wonderful. We'd love to see that. Anything else you'd like to share with us? How your team is doing? I assume a lot of those at White Swan Brands are working from home if they have a position that they can do that.
Yes. Go ahead,
okay.
Greg. Go ahead. You take that one.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we are still under travel restriction as a result of the pandemic. All of our administrative team, our sales representatives are working from home. So retailers are being reached out to via telephone, via virtual meeting, by email. And folks, I know you guys are getting bombarded with email solicitation, and we just ask for patience from the side of the manufacturers. We're trying to get important information to you, promotional information to you, product information to you as easily as we can during this tough time that everyone's faced with. But we are still currently under travel restriction. From a distribution standpoint, we really haven't missed anything in that all of our essential employees from an operations standpoint are still reporting daily, as are members of our senior management team. But for the lion's share of the 580 plus employees are working from home. And as we all saw 30 minutes ago, it's quite the adjustment, right? So, that's where we stand today, Dixie.
And it is a whole new world, and we certainly appreciate everybody's understanding that as we have been forced to go virtual, technology is not something we have a lot of control over. So we appreciate everybody's patience in this. And the same thing with our URA trade show, virtual show coming up in October. It's not a perfect world. Technology is great when it works, has always been my favorite saying. But we do, we appreciate everybody muddling through it with us. And as a reminder, the virtual URA trade show will be Sunday, October 25. White Swan Brands will kick us off with a welcome party at 7 o'clock, and activities will go through Tuesday, November 3. All sessions will be recorded, but we encourage you to check out all of the exhibitors and sponsor links. Support everyone who is supporting the URA. Also, the October Coffee Talk program will be part of the URA virtual trade show. That will be on Thursday, October 29, and it will be a virtual coffee talk with the URA board. I do not, let's see. Just lost my link here. I was gonna say, I do not see any other questions. Oh, again, good point, Jennifer. The 2020 virtual URA trade show is free to every URA member. It's a member benefit that we want to bring to you. We know that times have been challenging, finances have been challenging. So this is a free member benefit. We also, this is going to be, all the presentations will be made available for the life of your membership. So as long as you're a member, you'll be able to go back and listen to any of those presentations. So we hope that everybody takes the time, marks their calendar, and is able to participate. I don't see any other questions. I know this was a short coffee talk program, but I think that White Swans had a lot of great information on how their advisory board works. I know that myself as just a consumer, that was very interesting to know that there's a lot of thought that goes into the background of how and why uniforms are developed. So I very much appreciate your time. And if there's no other questions, I want to say thank you so much to Greg and Deanna and all of our partners at White Swan Brands. And we hope to see you virtually starting October 25.
Thank you, Dixie.
Thanks, everybody.
And thank you, everyone.
Have a fantastic day.
You too.